I knew it was wrong. This is coming from Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang in their public statements that basically admitting guilt, right? Because they already have guilty pleas, and by saying I knew it was wrong, really hurt Sam Bankman-Fried's defense. He's gonna try a couple things. So one, he's gonna try I'm too stupid defense, I'm sorry defense, and also two, well, I wasn't doing anything. It was my compadres, right? Ellison and Wang were doing the bad things. So this is definitely a personal matter. The reason why I say that personal is because we know Ellison was Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend, and then also too, Gary Wang was in fact Sam Bankman-Fried's roommate, and also too, I guess they met at math camp in high school. So these people are very, very close to each other, and it's all in the family, I guess you should say. It was interesting too. I tried to find more stuff on Gary Wang. I found this here. I mean, at one point, and who knows about like what his financial situation is now, but according to this is Forbes, they say he has 4.2 billion net worth, and that is essentially 637th ranked in the world. So a lot of money, but like I said, who knows what it is now. I've been trying to look for more stuff on Gary Wang, but it's just hard to find things. And it's funny, every time you look up something, they always say, like, there's not much known about him. So I'm sure more will come out. You guys remember this sort of articles where you were seeing that Sam Bankman-Fried only had like, $100,000 in his bank. And then how did that make any sense when his company used to be worth 32 billion, which is like, you laugh, you're like, oh my God, like where did this money go? This is sort of what the discovery phase is doing, and sort of why they, his colleagues cooperating matter quite a bit. Now, Ellison and Wang made public statements. I want to go through some of these things because this was actually in the courtroom, and we have direct quotes. So this is sort of coming directly from them. This is Caroline Ellison saying, "I am truly sorry for what I did." Again, that's coming directly from Caroline Ellison. I knew it was wrong. Also, too, this is she's saying this as well. I also understood that many FTX customers invested in crypto derivatives, and that most FTX customers did not expect that FTX would lend out their digital assets and fiat currency deposits to Alameda in this fashion. And the reason why these things are important, why you're meeting guilt, and also too, you're kind of saying exactly what you're doing wrong, and also too how you're betraying people's trust. Some of the charges that are facing Caroline and also Sam Bankman-Fried and perhaps other people will be announced, but there are different charges depending on who you cheat. Essentially, are you cheating lenders? Are you cheating customers? Are you cheating investors? And we may see maybe suits between co-workers while you're cheating your workers. So this is some of the language that they're going at. Now, regards to Gary Wang, he actually made a statement as well. This is in front of the same judge. You can see here, Mr. Wang pleaded guilty in front of the same judge. He told Judge Abrams he knew what he was doing was illegal and wrong. Here's a quote. As part of my employment at FTX, I was directed to and agreed to make certain changes to the platform's code. And then this is basically in reference to moving money from Alameda to FTX, and also just basically changing how the system works for these kind of illegal activities. That's why it's important where you're saying that I knew what I was doing was legal and wrong. And I mentioned before, we'll see if there are other people involved in the writing the code, or maybe he's just doing himself. Some people ask me, hey, Chris, what's the exact code that he's written? I don't know. If you guys know, please let me know. I remember we talked about this before. It was like a month or so ago where they were reporting that there was a hack and like there was a bunch of missing money. This may or may not be part of it. So, and guys, I do understand it's spelled W-A-N-G, pronounced Wang. I speak Chinese. That's all I have to say about that. I also speak Japanese and Korean, and I speak English, so I'm pretty good at language. And don't like make fun of me about my pronunciation, because my pronunciation is correct. It's yours that is wrong. So I just wanted to say that out there for those people who don't know how to speak Chinese. It is what it is. Now, Caroline Ellison makes further statements. You guys can see here again. This is a quote. From 2019 through 2022, I was aware that Alameda was provided access to a borrowing facility on FTX.com, the cryptocurrency exchange run by Mr. Bankman-Fried. So again, these are sort of formal statements. That's why they say Mr. Bankman-Fried and how she's talking here. In practical terms, this arrangement permitted Alameda access to unlimited line of credit. That's a key, unlimited line of credit. As you guys know, they were printing up a bunch of FTT tokens out of thin air, and they could just borrow as much as they want. without being required to post collateral, without having negative balances, and without being subject to margin calls on FTX.com's liquidation protocol. So this is where Gary comes in. He was changing the code so that like they were, remove any kind of warning signals, anything like that from the system and those sort of things. One thing that is also interesting here, you can take a look. They're saying that, or she's saying, I should say, that I'll just read it here. She said, and Mr. Bankman agreed to conceal this arrangement from lenders and crafted false financial statements to hide the amount of Alamina's borrowing, including billions in loans made to FTX executives. So here, when they're saying like billions of loans, include billions in loans made to FTX executives. So I wonder how many other people were involved with this, how much money we're talking about being passed around. And essentially, right, this is all stolen money. So, like I said, there could be other charges. And then the other issues would be like, how are people going to say, well, the company gave me, $5 billion and I didn't question anything. No questions asked. That's a lot of money, right? You guys know that. If you've heard the interview that I did with someone, a former employee at FTX, you should listen to that. But basically, he was talking about how FTX's arrangements gave out a lot of bonuses. That was part of like you'd have a low salary, but they just pay out tons of bonuses. So I wonder if you're talking about giving billions of loans in FTX executives, that this is part of like their bonus system. I don't know. I'm just saying this is what I see right here. And then even Wang again repeated that I knew what I was doing was wrong. I also want to talk about the $250 million bail. Which was a bond for Sam Bankman-Fried, and essentially going to spend Christmas with his parents at his parents' house. These are some of the terms involved with this. So one, Mr. Bankman-Fried must surrender his travel documents and stay at his parents' house, right? Two, he must not open new lines of credit or start another business. Three, he may not enter into any financial transactions of more than $1,000 except to pay his legal fees. And four, he agrees to be monitored electronically. Now, one of the things that is important as well is I was looking at how did they get this deal? And a couple of legal people were saying that he must have, made the deal ahead of time to have this option to stay at his parents. Otherwise, he would have fought extradition and just stayed in the Bahamas. So, when people say, hey, how does that fare that he's not in jail or prison right now? Essentially, that's how they got him to come. They said, okay, if you do come to the USA, we'll let you be with your parents and we'll give you a bail. And then also two people are asking, okay, so where is this money coming from? Is this all stolen money? Evidently, they don't necessarily have to pay the money right away. Basically, they put a lien on your house. And there was a couple details here that I thought were really important to look at. I guess they were saying there were 4 people who signed on to be essentially on the hook for this $250 million. 2 of the people are his parents. I believe a third person is a family member. And then there's a 4th person who is unnamed, not a family member. So for those of you who, conspiracy people out there, you can guess who this third and 4th person are. So like I said, I think the 3rd person is a family member, at least how I understand how I read it. And then the 4th person is unknown. So it says here, the 4 people who are to co-sign the bond, including 1 non-family member, would be on the hook for the rest of the $250 million. So this is where I was like, okay, if they're saying 4 people and one non-family, my guess, maybe the 3rd person could be like his brother or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. I was looking into the parents and stuff like that because you guys have been asking and making comments about this. So this is my understanding of the situation. So the parents are deeply involved with FTX. They also put their house up as part of the lien for this bond to get their kid out. The dad, it sounds like, took money from FTX in terms of being an employee and would regularly travel down the Bahamas. So he probably knows all of the staff people. What his role and knowledge in terms of illegal activities, I have no idea, no comment. I don't know. The mom, it is true. It looks like that she was directing political donations. It was called Mind the Gap. And it was interesting because sort of the way that they operated was essentially secret, and not secret in the sense of like they wouldn't, how can I say, they would give money to people, right? And they wouldn't like try to hide that fact. However, the secret part about them, and this is the article that I was reading about them, is basically the way election campaign financing works is once one party, say the Democrats are giving money to candidate A, then the Republicans would be like, oh, you're giving money to candidate A, we better give money there too, and that's where the fight's going to be. And so I guess they try to keep it a secret as long as they can on which candidates that they were selecting to support. And it's interesting because which also matters as well is Bankman-Fried was also giving FTX money to his brother. So all three of family members are involved, right? The dad, because he was essentially working for them. The mother essentially was, using some of the money for campaign donations, and the brother, which was using money for, I think it was like a pandemic organization. So it's it's all in the family, and that's why I mentioned when we first started, we're like, you have the roommate turning against Sam, the girlfriend turning against Sam, and if we get the parents and kids like turning in each other, it's going to be pretty wild. And the part of this whole culture that we're seeing, I see a couple things in this. So one is I want to mention the Elizabeth Holmes thing. It's a very similar kind of thing to where if you grow up in a essentially influential family with a lot of connections, you have a lot of access to capital, and you can raise money through the wazoo, evidently, right, as you guys know. And one of the things that kind of frustrates me, and I'm just sharing with you guys, you may or may not know, I went to the Brown University and also the University of Pennsylvania. Penn is actually where Elon Musk went to school, and also to Warren Buffett. I mentioned Elon because we talk a lot about Elon on this channel, and sometimes you'll see people in the comments that say,
"Oh, Chris, you're so dumb. Elon's a billionaire. What do you know? You're just too stupid."
What I want to share with you guys is that it's a real thing when you're kind of at these higher levels, at these types of universities, these types of places. Some people come from very wealthy families. Some people come from very well-connected families. They have more opportunities because they were born to rich parents. Some people like myself, right, don't have that kind of luxury. So sometimes it's not about ability. Sometimes it's about how much money your parents have. And I hope that this understanding of how the world really works is really, really clear. And so, it's not that I'm stupid. It's not that Elon Musk is so much smarter than me. He comes from a wealthy family, the same way that Sam Bankman-Fried comes from a wealthy and influential family, the same way that Elizabeth Holmes comes from a wealthy and influential family. These type of kids have a lot more opportunity than potentially the rest of us. And it is not exclusively to just people on the Democratic side, right? Republicans can be wealthy too. I've been around all sorts of people, and you guys may not know. When I was at Penn, Ivanka Trump was also there. That is Trump's daughter. She was at Penn the same time I was there, right? I've been around these kind of rich people before, so I know how this game works. One of the things too is I want to stress is that a lot of this is more of a class thing than a left-right issue. I'll give you a simple example. I mentioned this story yesterday because I think it matters quite a bit. You can read the headline. Hunter Biden hires Jared Kushner lawyer to face Republican investigations. So like even in these kind of circles, kids of presidents hire the same lawyers to defend themselves from whatever thing they have, and you can't make this stuff up. And this is sort of why I try to emphasize so many times on this channel. I think the vast majority of us have more in common than say the 99% of us have more in common than say that 1% that all use the same lawyers, that have access to the same type of capitals, and can run whatever scams that they're going to run because they run in the same circles. I hope you guys understand the message and that this thing is really, really clear. So when I see these stories about, say, Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes or FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, I'm trying my best to give you guys a full picture of what's going on and try how to understand this situation. So do appreciate everyone watching. Love to hear your thoughts on these things, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.